against another 4-0 person, so that'll be a challenge in itself, but still.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and get things started. Looks like both runners going to start. Uncle's going to be racing us to the castle, going to have a massive head start, and going to get an arrow upgrade from the chest.
A little bit unfair, but, you know, what can you do? You got to respect your elders. Oh, an early map check already. Special crystal in Hera with a red pendant at Desert and a normal crystal at Eastern. Wow, jumping straight into onto the knowledge trainer.
Hey, intel is definitely important. They want to make sure they have that information early so they can kind of start planning their routes ahead of time, which is definitely something you can't really ignore. Our uncle item for today is the Cane of Samaria, so very interesting weapon we're going to be using here.
Yeah, definitely one of the more forgiving items, as the Cane of Samaria does use a remarkable little amount of magic for the amount of damage that you can dish out, as our runners get a nice 10 arrow bundle to go with that arrow upgrade.
Yeah, that is definitely true. There are a couple of other magic items you can use, but yeah, like you said, Cane of Samaria uses the least amount. DT finding a bomb from one of the guards outside, so he is not going to be needing to farm any bombs while he goes through this section. Yagamoth can still pick up that bomb, just has to destroy a couple of the knife guards in this hallway or in the next hallway, so still possibility he can get that.
Yeah, of course, our runners are looking to get that bomb to gain access to the last 3 chests of the escape sequence, which are otherwise blocked by either a very, very long walk back through the escape sequence or by use of the power gloves.
Yeah, and it's also very, very unfortunate when it is the power glove and you don't get that bomb, because then you just have no chance to really go back through there to get that item you need. So hopefully Yagamoth will be able to get that bomb in that hallway when he comes back.
Yeah, very true. Of course, we could also find some bombs in any of the upcoming chests. DT meanwhile finds the one of the chested smokies, which means that there is only the map left to be found, but the rest are going to be unique items.
Yes, that is true, and if that map is in the sanctuary, they won't need to open that chest.
Yeah, if our runners are keeping item counts, as we do come up to the halfway point here. Zelda waiting in a cell, locked behind the door, key guarded by a surprisingly flimsy ball and chain guard's gonna look into the Samaria block there.
Yeah, I like what Yagamoth did right there. I think, I'm not really sure which is technically faster. DT just used 2 pots to get rid of that guard, which is, you know, a nice and quick way to do it. But I think if you get the guard at just the right point with that Samaria block, you can just keep bonking them against the wall and destroy them a lot faster. So.
Yeah, definitely any bit of time advantage that our runners can have, our runners will take. Although at this point in the escape sequence it doesn't matter as much, but later on in the race the small little details might prove to be quite effective at bringing that timer down.
Definitely, and we'll see. One of those small differences, but could be significant based on what's there. Yagamoth is going to be going through this hallway here, and if he does not kill a knife guard, then he may not get that bomb upgrade. Okay, got it. Okay, so he is good to go.
Neither of our runners are going to be put at a disadvantage due to the prize pack. Of course, there are still the rats and rogues in the sewer escape, although they are a different drop group. They could also still contain bombs.
Oh yeah, that is true. They could still find bombs even if he didn't get that, but he'd be probably searching a little bit longer. So, you know, DT's kind of slight early lead would get a little bit bigger, but as you said, escape is pretty static for the most part. Both runners will have to go through it, so it shouldn't be that much of a huge determining factor anyway.
Yeah, and definitely for a seed that could well take up to 2 hours, this few seconds lead might disappear in an instant, as we find a healthy amount of cash in the sewer chest.
Even though he has that bomb, DT gonna be farming a couple of other enemies just to see what the drops he can get. Honestly, not a bad idea, especially if you have that magic to burn right now.
Yeah, especially getting that full magic decanter. Both Yaga and DT getting an amazing pattern from the rat staying near the torch, getting an easy and quick kill.
And just like that, that's extremely slight lead that DT had has now gone to Yagamoth, and then again it switched right back just now. So this is why you can't really use this as a huge determining factor, and more bombs inside the back of Escape too.
Which is pretty nice, as 3 bombs is enough to get you through the Kakariko area, so our runners might not need to purchase bombs. Of course, still a valuable resource. Definitely won't hurt to pick up a couple more.
Yeah, it'll definitely cover them with those first 3 early Kakariko checks. So, would be nice to get those at least taken care of. If they have to buy some, they have to buy some. Just the way it is sometimes. Anyway, the shovel. Okay, I guess the map was early on, but yeah, a shovel in the sanctuary chest.
Definitely an interesting item to find, as you don't know what it is until you actually go to the Haunted Grove and see what is buried. Now, of course, the runners will be able to route that in if they go the meta route, which it does look like both the runners are taking, going up to the Lost Woods into Kakariko, looping down to the southern part of the world. Getting hearts from the tree pool, very nice to know, although not directly for bombs though.
Yeah, I think Yagamoth didn't actually mean to kill the crab that early, but he has the information now, and we also get the information that there is a blue rupee on the lumberjack ledge. Oh wait, rupee. Those are flippers. My mistake.
Yeah,
those are
flippers.
Those are very important.
May or may not be required at the end of the day, but we'll just have to see whether or not Swarm Palace turns out to be anything of requirement, as well as Ice Palace.
And let this be a lesson: do not watch streams at low res, because you may miss something important.
Nice vanilla piece of heart in the Thieves' Den. That's wow, a negative thief. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Interesting way that the Link to the Past sprite color palette works is a lot of objects will take from Link's sprite, as in the vanilla game you can't actually change your sprite, so you can simply pull colors without fearing anything funny happening. Of course, due to the sheer amount of amazing sprite developers, we have some very unique sprites today. DT using the negative Link and Yagamoth. I'm not sure what the character is called, but I believe it's a Final Fantasy character.
Yes, I believe that is just a Final Fantasy Mog. So that is what Yagamoth is using as we get the Blind Sut treasures checked. We got 50 rupees, a piece of heart, the bow.
Ooh, the bow.
And another 5 rupees. An actual 5 rupee, not the one I mistakenly saw. And silver arrows.
Wow, what a combo. Bow and silver arrows. Definitely a nice find. Wow, both the runners are going to be picking it up, obviously. That does make the Eastern Palace play a little bit more valuable now that they did find a bow, being able to immediately full clear it.
That's true. It is one of our crystal dungeons as well, so that definitely puts it on the table. Get our fighter sword from Kakariko Well. Sorry for the motorcycle in the background.
I mean, we are going lightning fast.
Yeah.
I guess he just wanted to join in on the fun. Meanwhile,
I guess
Yagamoth
so.
Following closely behind DT. Both runners going to be following a very similar route to get the most out of this area. 17 locations, I believe, around-ish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of locations here. If you want to include
Grandma.
like all the possible fetch quest items too, even more.
Grandma wasn't looking too hot then. Actually found the moon pearl.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, Grandma holding out on us. Yeah, negative link has a very negative effect on the world.
Yes, it does, but it's fun for us to look at, that's for sure. As we get 300 rupees from the tavern. Honestly, at this point, fake flippers could be a very, very good play because we have the Moon Pearl, we can get the Waterfall Fairy Cave, and we don't know if we're going to need those flippers yet necessarily, so we can kind of put that on hold and kind of check that area as we find the lamp in the library.
That is definitely an interesting find. Now, I have no doubt that both of these runners are fully comfortable with doing dark rooms after you find the rat boomerang at the race game. So I doubt that we'll get to see the lamp unless it, of course, is our only fire source. If we haven't found the fire rod.
It's also nice knowing that we will be getting the boots beforehand because you need the lamp. Well, you don't need it, obviously, but Aghanim 1 will be in the logic, or won't be in the logic until we get the lamp, which we need the boots to get. So that'll essentially cover the lumberjack tree item, and there we go. Have magic from the shovel.
A very nice item to find, as both runners took different routes, but end up synchronized in the dig spot. Now we are going to see a slight divergence. Yagamoth going to opt for the Eastern Palace. Never mind. Disregard everything I said.
He's just checking the item on Lake Kylie at just a red rupee. He's going to be moving on to Eastern now, though.
Yeah, definitely not a bad choice, and that rupee will stay there forever. As DT
more than likely, yeah.
Going to check the dam as well as the minimal dome cave, and with the amount of money that that our runners have, Zora is very likely to happen as well. Of course, with the flippers being on the lumberjack cave, it's going to be out of sequence, but I doubt that our runners are going to have any trouble with going out of sequence.
Oh, there's those boots we were looking for.
Semi-vanilla.
And see, this is kind of nice for Yagamoth, because now that he knows that he has the boot, and that he could get the lamp logically, he knows that all of Eastern is fully within the logic right now, so he's just going to opt to jump right over here and complete it.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it might not be the best idea to sequence break, as it can lead you astray with the way that the randomizer can sometimes place certain items.
Definitely.
Meanwhile, DT is gonna give us the mini Mordom check. So far, nothing much of value. And it looks like it's going to be a letdown for now. Yagamoth with his boots be charging through the Eastern Palace. At least we'll find his way around now with that map. The dark room is going to be quite handy.
It's also worth mentioning that when Yagamoth does kind of finish up Eastern Palace and starts looking at like the South Shore, he'll be able to kind of check these South Shore locations a lot faster, just because he has those boots and he can get to Ice Cave a lot faster than just walking here like DT has to.
Yeah, especially since the Ice Rod Cave is the, I believe, the most isolated item locations out of all of them.
Definitely I'd say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, usually runners will wait until either they have the boots or the flute in order to make it a bit more efficient, and certain runners just want to immediately. Ooh, very interesting strat from Yagamoth. I have not seen that before. Using the bomb to kill the stealth first kid.
Yeah, leave it to Link to the Past. Oh, Master Sword.
Well, hi there.
You know what that
no.
means? Aghanim is within the logic now
Yeah.
once he picks up that lantern back at the library.
Well, that is a scary prospect, especially as we don't have downward access yet.
Yeah, we don't, but, you know, that Aghanim access could be our Dark World access because we have the Moon Pearl. There could be something in Palace in Darkness at this point. Ooh, and it looks like DT is opting to go ahead and grab the lantern right now, and also check the Bonk Rock location as well.
Yeah, definitely a very aware play. Checking the. Okay, now that's just rude. That, I mean, now you pretty much have to go to Aghanim with that bug net.
Yeah. Also, Yagamoth does pick up a bottle inside Eastern Palace as well, so we can check that with Sick Kid whenever he goes back to the Kakariko area.
Very nice there, Yagamoth putting an arrow in the static idol before it starts moving to keep track of its location. Again, it's the small things that make this game so charming. DT meanwhile finds or picks up his lamp. Definitely a useful item.
I have a feeling like DT may have kind of used the boots as a way to kind of gamble his way to kind of skip the Eastern Palace check at this point, because often you want to go to Eastern Palace a little bit later so you can combine it with a Palace of Darkness. So maybe he was kind of hoping that, well, if I get a certain item, I won't have to do Eastern right away. But unfortunately, it did not work out completely in that fashion.
Oh,
Here's
the
another
hammer.
Dark World item.
Oh, not yet the complete set, but we are getting closer and closer to letting Aghanim be. DT meanwhile starting the Eastern Palace tour, will be receiving his hammer as well as the bottle. Asiaga is going to retrace in DT's footsteps.
Yeah, that's right. And like I mentioned earlier, going to be able to kind of speed through this section a little bit faster because he does have those boots. By the same coin, though, DT will make probably a little faster work of Eastern because he has the lamp and doesn't have to worry about situating himself in the dark rooms as much. But over time, just getting those boots early definitely just creates a huge advantage in terms of how it's done.
Yeah, boots being one of the primary methods to go fast. Definitely one of the more desired items, as well as it allows for some very interesting strategies by use of bonking over pits, etc.
Definitely. So what we're currently looking at this point is, once Yagamoth finishes up this and checks Bonk Rocks and potentially Sick Kid as well, we're going to be out of locations. We're going to have to actually go for Aghanim at that point, and because we do not have the glove for Dark World access or for Death Mountain access, so we're going to need to go to the Dark World to look for that glove upgrade.
Yes, the only location that I can think of is Agina's cave, which hasn't been checked.
Oh, right, Agina's cave. Yeah, that's true. And again, like I said, Sick Kid as well. So yeah, there's another location we have to. But at this point, I mean, those flippers, very important item. So they're probably thinking, you know, Aghanim may be the play here.
Yeah, Yagamoth with those boots will be making effective work of the Ice Rod Cave. Will be getting his piece of art as DT gets his red potion. And by the looks of things, Yagamoth is going to go to the Zora area, setting up for the water walk bridge. by dashing on the side of the pit.
Ooh, and this does also bring up another point. If he does happen to find a glove upgrade through this sequence break, at least for right now, he could just kind of put off Aghanim until he absolutely knows he has to do it, because we do not know those Dark World crystals and pendants yet.
And only bombs from the camper. Now with that, Yagamoth will have to set up for a fake flipper, as you can't do the water walk glitch back out of the camper's hideout. Does get it though, as DT is, well, can't really call that a boss, can you?
No. I think he was just swatting at a few flies that was on his computer screen or something.
Yeah, like that, like fly swatter for the SNES.
Oh yeah, the Mario Paint minigame. Okay.
Different games aside, Yagamoth is taking the Zora play, finding the Love Cave, and will be making his way up to Zora. We'll be able to at least check the ledge on the check the item on the ledge. But unfortunately, you do need the actual flippers in order to get it. So only 5 rupees, not going to be worth the Aghanim play if that does end up being unrequired.
Speaking of Aghanim play, that is immediately what DT is going for. Not going to be checking that Sick Kid location or Aghanim, kind of gambling that, you know. This oh
no!
Oh my gosh, Yagamoth with the sequence break gamble, getting the glove, the power glove.
That is huge.
Now, okay, we still don't know that, because I mean they'll have to get flippers for Swamp if Swamp is a crystal. So this is not a complete skip. This does allow Yaga to kind of not think about Aghanim for right now, but DT is going to make the play here and just go through here, following the logic, and you know it could still pay off for him.
Yeah, that is true. Although Yagamoth is going to retrieve his lamp from the library, and most likely will be heading straight into the Dark World and to check out the plethora of locations available to him, as well as Thievstown, Skullwoods, and perhaps a map so that we know where our runs will have to go next.
Okay, gonna get the sick kid location now. And just some bombs.
DT, meanwhile, making quick work of the Aghanim Tower with those silver arrows, one of the most powerful weapons in the game, being able to one-shot pretty much everything. As Yagamoth will be making his way into the Dark World as the first of our runners.
I'm really curious to see this Dark World check if Yagamoth does it immediately. I imagine it's on his mind. He realizes, I got this through a sequence break. Let me see if this is going to be required or not. And it will be required regardless. Swamp Palace is a crystal. I got a green pendant at Ice Palace, the other pendant at Skullwoods, and I believe the other 5/6 crystal was at Thievstown.
That is correct. So with that, both the runners will have to eventually go to the Aghanim one, due to the fact that the flippers are in the Lumberjack Cave, which requires Aghanim to be defeated. So definitely an interesting play from Yagamoth, finding the gloves through a sequence break. Instead, DT opting to stay within logic, we'll be able to get those flippers immediately. So we find Bombos, which does. Oh, it's a Death Warp. I was.
It's Death Warp time.
Yeah, still no mirror. Definitely still a lot of locations to check before we might even see the mirror.
And see, this will definitely be very interesting to see what DT decides to do next when he does get to the Dark World, because at this point he can go into Palace of Darkness and do some work there. He can also go south to Hype Cave, see if he can find that glove upgrade there. So he definitely has his options here, and will be on a much different route than his opponent if he continues to follow the logic like he is.
Yaga getting a nice bomb jump. Unfortunately, only gets rewarded with the Dungeon's Compass. As DT has made his way onto the Pyramid of Power, we'll be able to check the Pyramid item. Only a 5 at this time, so not much of value, but does have access to pretty much the entirety of the Palace of Darkness as well as Catfish. Oh, no, never mind. Nope. He doesn't have the glove.
Yeah, not quite Catfish. You do need one more glove upgrade, or just one glove upgrade to get there, but you know, that glove upgrade could be here in Pod. That could be what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, thankfully it has more than enough money to pay off our favorite little monkey, charging 10 up front and 100 at the end to open the dungeon.
Having a mirror right now would be really, really nice, just so you can kind of mirror and grab those flippers while you're here, but Yagamoth will have to come back for that a little bit later.
Yeah, that is true, although we did get the info that Bunker Cave is unrequired, and Palace of Darkness is not bowlocked. Yagamoth is going to check out the Village of the Outcasts, and by extension, Thieves Town.
And because he has all the items to complete it, he is going to stop right into Thieves Town, see if he can grab some more items here. 4 items in here, so a lot of chances to find something good. Not to mention it is also one of the 5 and 6 crystals as we run into the hook shots.
Ooh, a very, very, very welcome item. Very much required for the seed as well, and required in general for the final cross on in Ganon's Tower. Of course, we are still miles away from getting to that Ganon's Tower, so for now the hook shot will mainly be used for getting around the world in a quicker fashion, as well as being able to stun enemies and instantly kill certain enemies as well. Yagamoth finds another heart container. We'll be moving on to the back part of Thieves Town. DT, meanwhile, going into the back part of Palace of Darkness.
Someone in chat wondering if the hook shot is out of sequence. It is not out of sequence, technically, because Yagamoth can get the flippers now, and the flippers can get the glove upgrade at Zora, and by extension can get to Thieves Town within the logic. So, you know, he's still technically playing out of logic, but he does have the items necessary to be in logic, so not quite out of sequence.
Yeah, definitely something that that our runners will have to keep track of, whether or not they are receiving certain items in or out of logic. As that does allow you to kind of make sort of a guess as to where the seed wanted you to go. For example, finding a glove upgrade at Zora.
Ooh, and Yagamoth taking an unfortunate death inside Thieves Town. You know, those Dark World enemies do hurt you for quite a bit of damage, and, you know, sometimes if you're just not careful enough, they can get you when you least expect it, so He's going to have to go back to that room. Thankfully, I think he bombed the floor at the very least.
Yeah, he did bomb the floor, but unfortunately missed the chest.
Oh, he missed the chest. Ooh. Oh, yeah, powder from DT's side.
Yeah, powder opening up one more location, but also a very nice safety item to have, as it does allow you to transform anti-fairies into regular fairies. As we get a nice hammer jump from DT, only finding a bomb upgrade. But this way we'll be able to save a small key. Not more bombs. That was Yunkel's bombs, actually.
Yeah, that's right. Because of the way the standard randomized swords function works, they actually added that 10 bomb drop as an item into the randomizer, replacing one of the 3 bomb drops, just so you could have enough bombs to make it through the escape section.
Yeah, funny little thing to note is that item will, if it is from Uncle, it will actually fill all of your bombs instead of give you 10, which you find quick in Blind's chest. So if you were to get a bomb capacity upgrade from Link's house, you will get 15 bombs instead of 10.
That is interesting. I actually did not know that.
Yeah, I believe that has to do with the way how chested items work versus handed out items.
Right. Anyway,
enough about chests and bombs. Yagamoth in the blind fight, DT in the longest cutscene of the game.
Ooh. Cutting it pretty close, but does get blind down. That'll give Yagamoth the blue mail and his second crystal, one of the 5/6 crystals as well.
Yeah, it definitely has a bit more weight to it than a normal crystal, as both of the 5 and 6 crystals, if you collect those, you can purchase the big bomb from Link's house in Dark World and receive 2 more chests, or 2 more items from the Cursed Fairy.
And it's also kind of interesting, the other 5/6 crystal, which is that Tower of Hera, is within the logic for Yagamoth as well, so he could be thinking that, you know, this might be a sign that the seed is telling me to go for that Pyramid Fairy.
DT in the Helmets of Fight. Single silver arrow will take care of the beast himself.
Yeah, this is the reason why they try not to give you the silver arrows in the vanilla game, because they can take down so many bosses in just a single hit, so want to make sure you're not too overpowered that early on.
Meanwhile, Yagamoth does pick up his bugnet as well as DT. Unfortunately, does not have the mirror to... Oh no, he already cleared Eastern Palace.
Yeah.
Did disregard. Yagamoth instead going for the mountain play. Does have the hookshot, so we'll be able to check out the eastern part of Death Mountain. Another quite lucrative area with, I believe, 7 items on the right side alone.
Actually 8 if you count Spiral Cave on top of that, but yeah, still a lot of value up there. And DT, because of his equipment right now, is following the logic, going south to Hype Cave here. Gonna get 5 items here as well.
Yeah, we will just have to see whether or not this is going to be hype or not. Easy getting a nice pack of 8 bombs back. Uh-oh.
Well, we do need that.
That is required indeed, but so far that will not give our runners anything.
Yeah, that'd probably be a low-end scoring Hype Cave, I'd say. I mean, you know, Ice Rod, it is a required item we'll need for one thing in the game. And, you know, it is required for a Crystal Dungeon. But that's also something we're going to be thinking about much later on anyway, and Hyde Cave is such a universally visited location, so, you know, not terribly impressed with that, to be frank.
Yeah, definitely a useful cave, but not a Hyde Cave. CT does find a bottled green potion at Stumpy. Meanwhile, Yagamoth finding the flute. Another huge item, both for moving around, but that also gives us access to the Maya area once we get the Titan Smiths. SDT is going to dig up some dirt, see what he can get.
We do get the Fire Rod and Paradox Cave from Yagamoth, and just a bomb upgrade for DT. And Paradox Cave does not choose to go to Spiral Cave, or not Spiral Cave, I'm sorry. DT has to come back here now. He's going to get the flippers, and he's going to start doing some of his other checks now.
Yeah, with those flippers. Oh.
Or Stick Kid first, probably.
Yeah, hopefully those flippers will warrant him to go over to that Zora area to get his glove, which will lead him into eventually more progression. As Yagamoth is taking a peek into the Tower of Hera, which is the second of the 5-6 crystal duo. So after this, very high likelihood of a fat fairy check as well. Ooh, DT is instead going to cash out or cash in his powder here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this is available to him as well.
Nah, unfortunately not worth the price. Only 5 rupees.
Mm.
And at this point, both the runners already have more than enough rupees to do this seed over.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The cash requirements and minigames.
Okay, gonna get the top of Hera checks here. Just dungeon items, so we're still looking for some stuff.
Yeah, so far not much of anything has been found. And here we go, as DT is going to be retrieving his flippers, for which he worked so hard for getting up that tower. Yagamoth is going to work for his prize on top of the tower. Moldome with the Master Sword quite a bit faster than with the Fighter Sword, already down as well. 3 hits, 3 spins rather.
Does get it done though, and gets the map, so there is still 1 item in the basement.
See if Yaga opts to check that one immediately, or to just leave it. DT making the Zora play, going to check out the some of the miscellaneous locations first, and then will probably likely go to the Zora area.
It is actually kind of interesting right now. We're not really looking for too much when you really break it down. We still need the mirror to get in the Swamp Palace, and you know, we know where the flippers are, obviously, and we know where all those other necessary items are, and we could have the medallions we need for both Mire and Turtle Rock already, so we're really just kind of looking for that mirror.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yagamoth does get the nice coffee break by standing on top of the crystal switch pegs. The game will give you infinite invincibility frames, which is pretty nice. As we will get to see what Moldorm has hidden down in his basement. The book.
The book, literacy.
That does open Desert Palace, as well as the Ether Tablet. Wait,
Right.
Jack, check.
Yeah, I was kind of interested about that. He did. I mean, it is annoying to walk back out of the basement of Hera, but there was that ether check, and technically he has to check Spiral Cave as well, I believe. So interesting how he left those behind for right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, DT will be coughing up the 500 rupees required for that power glove. Will be playing with power as he now has a lot more locations open to him.
Another question from chat. Do you think DT is regretting doing Aghanim as early as he did? Honestly, I would not say so, just because, following the logic is a very valid strat that I find a lot of runners at least try to keep in mind. So, I still think he's, like, not in really bad shape or anything. And they'd have to do Aghanim regardless, like, no matter what. So it's just kind of getting everything taken care of now, just so he doesn't have to worry about it later. So, I don't think it's weighing on his mind too much, but, knowing that it could have potentially changed his routing a little bit. So we'll just have to see what happens. That mirror is still a huge factor at play right now.
Yeah, that is true. Although being over 40 minutes in and only having the mirror as our technical go mode, as Yagamoth does pick up the ice rod.
He does. And I did actually forget about another item we need. We do need the Titan's mitts as well. I always forget about that because wow. it's on the like the gloves are highlighted on the trackers, so like I never think about that when I'm scanning through items for go mode. But yeah, we will need the mitts as well.
Nope, Yaga purchasing the wrong bombs there. Has to. You want the big red one.
No matter how many small blue bombs you throw at that cracked wall in the pyramid, it is not going down, so you need this big orange one.
Yeah, funnily enough, the big one will not damage you.
Oh, and there Yagamoth using the, I don't know what the strats are called, but if you manage to make a screen transition, as soon as that clock hits 0, the bomb will warp back to your location. So I was able to use that effectively just so you could run across the area leading to the pyramid.
Yeah, that definitely saved him a little bit of time. I'm just going to find out what items lie hidden in the pyramid. Some love and some money. Broken promise. As DT is making his way into Thieves Town. Hopefully will not take a death in the attic as Yagamoth is going to check out probably Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that looks to be the play right now. At this point, I'm wondering if Desert Palace is going to be the play right now, just based on all the different things we have. We don't have mirrors, so we can't check mirror spots. So, either that mirror or those Titan's gloves could be in Desert Palace at this point. Or even on that ether tablet as well. Okay, so DT gonna make his way to the attic chest here. Gonna be opening up the floor so we can get the blind battle to start properly when he brings the main down here, and Yagamoth looking through the treasures of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, thankfully does manage to get through unscathed as Yagamoth is making his way onto towards the back half of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, with the... Oh, sorry.
So coming up on the almost around the half or around the hour mark, I think chat is starting to wonder what could possibly be on the pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, the mirror is very much possible to be on the pedestal, which is pretty much going to be the only item besides ether, if that's required for either Maya or Tail Rock.
Or some other progression item that will also lead to the mirror or ether, for that matter. So yeah, pedestal is still very much alive. It could still very well happen. Some things obviously have to go down first, and there's still some locations that we have open right now that are of major interest to our runners right now. But yeah, there is definitely a possibility there could be something up there.
Yeah, this race is definitely not over yet, as DT does manage to finish off Blind Wilbury, receiving his blue mail, or yellow mail in DT's case.
With Negative Link, you never know. You never know what mail it's supposed to be.
It's negative blue. It gives you like a third less protection. That would be horrible. Just kidding. It doesn't actually do that. So please don't be afraid to pick any of the custom sprites, as well as play around with some of these settings. As we can see, DT has chosen blue hearts, which were added in the latest version to accommodate for color blindness, as well as being able to add a little bit more spice to your game.
Yeah, and if I know anything about those prolific randomizer developers, possibility for more colors along the way, I'm sure. So definitely keep your eyes out for future versions.
Oh, Yagamoth setting up for the Death Warp. With that blue mail, it's going to take a little bit longer to get down to low health.
So now DT is going through Skullwood to check out these locations. I imagine he's got to be thinking in his mind that Death Mountain would be a very good play. He did just get that hook shot. Tower of Hera is still on the table for him. It's a 5/6 crystal. And then, I'd be curious for him to check that the Ether Tablet and the Spiral Cave check, because those are two checks that Yagamoth put off for the time being. So if that has the mirror or even the mitts, that could be huge for DT.
Yes, that would definitely pay off. Yagamoth making excellent use of his Canis Maria, being able to avoid the block pushing puzzle. Well, I can't really call it a puzzle.
It's less of a puzzle and more of just a quick fix, I guess.
Yeah, thankfully we did get that Samaria, I would say, fairly early.
Our uncle did give this to us, so yeah, we did get it pretty early.
Yeah, as chat does correct me here, the environmental fire does do 100 damage. So my apologies for that small mistake, which is quite interesting to know. There are a couple of a couple of damage sources which do fixed amount of damage, including but not limited to spikes, pits, roller pins, fire bars, and apparently now also Dodongo's fire.
Mm-hmm.
You're never too old to learn.
I love to think of it like traps and obstacles of some sort. They're the ones that do like the 1 heart of fixed damage. That's the way I generally look at it. Because even the fire, once the fire is breathed out, it's, you know, it kind of lingers around like an obstacle or a trap of some kind. So that's usually like my outlook on that.
Yagamoth waiting for a second to take off the mask. He did that because Helmser was about to shoot a fireball, and due to the fact that the mask exploding generates a bunch of sprites, the game will overwrite any existing sprites, except for Link, of course. That would be quite horrible. But that will despawn the fireballs, which is a nice little optimization.
Just more of an example of Link to the Past runners and Randomizer runners literally think of everything when it comes to their execution. They just like think of every little thing to make the fight go faster, and I think it's incredible.
Yeah, again, a lot of different little things is what make this game very unique. As Yagamoth is going to go for that Desert Palace play. Meanwhile, DT checking out the Death Mountain area.
So we did see the heart container on the ledge there. There are still 2 items in here. So, you know, it's down to these 2 different items that our runners could be getting. The 2 items from Desert from Yagamoth, and then also the 2 potential items that Yagamoth skipped on Death Mountain for DT. So really curious to see which play is going to be the correct one in this case.
Yagamoth guessing the small key will be able to go to the right side of the dungeon. Meanwhile, DT will be picking up his flute and fire rod from the Paradox Cave, and hopefully will, as you mentioned, give us a glimpse of the items that Yagamoth skipped.
There's the mirror inside Desert.
We are in partial go mode. No.
Oh no, Mitts, yeah.
God. Wow. No. Now I'm falling for it as well. You're starting to rub off on me, son.
So Yagamoth is taking the mirror as an indication that, well, Swamp Palace would be on the table if I had flippers, so I'm going to go very quickly ahead and take care of Aghanim, get those flippers, and then maybe gamble that Titan's Mitt is inside Swamp Palace, which is a very, very fair play to make at this point.
Yeah, a good idea as well. 6 unique items to be found in Swamp Palace, excuse me. But with that, Yagamoth will first have to make the around 7-minute climb. Going to make excellent use of the silver arrows as DT is checking out the Tower of Hera. Will be able to finish this off completely, get his Pyramid Fairy out, check out of the way as well.
And you know, Chad brings up a good point. Like, if DT still checks these locations that are on Death Mountain that Yagamoth didn't, and if the Titan's Mitt is up there, DT still has a pretty significant advantage, because if Yagamoth goes to Swamp and just even checking mirror locations, that it could be a while before he finds that Titan's Mitt.
That is true. We did find that book in the Hera basement, and Yaga did decide to save and quit right after. So it will definitely be interesting to see if DT decides to do otherwise.
Also reminding that, you know, Mitts may still not be our go mode just because we still need to see what the medallions are for both Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. And if one of them is Ether, we're still going to be looking for that. But yeah, Mitts will give us access to that information too. So that's something they're really going to want to find as soon as possible.
Ooh, a very nice Moldon fight with the hammer from DT. Will be receiving his 5/6 crystal. It'll be interesting to see if he chooses to go back in for that book.
Well, I think at this point that's all he has, so I really hope he does. So both of our runners are going to be in kind of coffee break-like situations right now.
Yeah, Yagamoth waiting for Aghanim to do his little magic trick. DT taking the damage.
He's trying to show us how tough he is.
Oh, and definitely so with blue mail as well as 12 hearts. Definitely won't be any trouble. As well as setting up for that death warp as well. I would imagine.
Oh yeah, that's definitely why he's doing it. So he's thinking that there could still be something that I'll get from here. And yep. Oh yeah, because he has Spiral Cape to do still, so yeah, that's why he did the Death Warp. But now he can also check the Ether Tablet as well. Yagamoth did not check this when he left Harry. He saved and quit from the basement, so we'll see what this is going to be.
We're about to find out as we only get an arrow upgrade. Meanwhile, Yagamoth does finish off the Aghanim fight. We'll be able to get his flippers to take a peek into Swamp Palace. Is able to immediately full clear it as well, as DT is most likely going to show us the Spiral Cave with the boots this time. We'll be blazing right through.
So with this, Yagamoth does take a lead, albeit a small lead, but still a lead for sure. He is essentially 2 desert chests ahead of DT right now.
Yeah, definitely DT has to go to that Desert Palace area to get that all-important mirror. As Yagamoth is repeating DT in retrieving the flippers from the Lumberjack Cave. As our runners are going to be converging quite.
And Yagamoth is going straight for Swamp Palace, it looks like. Or maybe he could be checking some of the mirror spots around, because Swamp Palace is a dungeon you want to do in Go mode, and having the mitts would give him more of a confidence to do Swamp in Go mode, but he also knows that Ether is still on the table, so probably be safe just to kind of get Swamp Palace over and out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, you will have to do it eventually, and the item density is quite a lot larger. As I believe we are going to get a pedestal check from DT. And only a triplet of bombs.
I do kind of see what he was doing, though. Like, obviously, mitts cannot be on the pedestal. But if Ether was on the pedestal, he would have had that information, and he would have known that Okay, well, I need to just go ahead and clear desert while I'm there, just in case. So I can see what he was thinking with that.
Yeah, information can definitely be a big changer for a race. Fortunately, though, for Yagamoth, no pedestal C today. Yagamoth does make his way into Swamp Palace, checking the first chest, gets the immediate big key. As DT is going to cash in that big bomb.
Oh, that's right. He still has to do this too. That makes sense. And yeah, I guess he doesn't have the mirror yet, so he doesn't know. He didn't know if mirror was going to be on the pedestal either.
Yeah, of course, we have the privilege of watching 2 points of views as opposed to having only one. As our runners are kept in complete seclusion in order to keep things fair. DT making excellent use of the hook shot. Whenever you are hook shotting to say a tree, for example, if you suddenly dash before the bomb has caught up to you, you can simply dash with the bomb instead of having to walk with it.
Yeah.
Again, these little tiny optimizations can make a difference in the long run.
Oh, that's right. We have not seen Catfish yet either.
Yeah, Catfish is indeed still on the table.
Meanwhile, just finding a triple bomb inside the big chest in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it does opt to skip the left side for now. Although it might come back in if the Titansmiths end up not being in it. Or not being in the back part of Swamp Palace anyway. DT waking the catfish from his slumber will be rewarded with the best boomerang. The bloomerang is going to opt to retrieve that item. Again, a very nice item to have, the blue boomerang, as it does have a couple of strats in the Ganon's tower to make it a little bit easier.
Anyway, DT is aware now that the mirror, or just any item that he needs right now, could be here in Desert. So he's going to be opting to go over here and check this dungeon next. Going to find the mirror. And I imagine he might be thinking about Swamp as well once he does that. But if he decides to go for some mirror checks, some overworld mirror checks, that could make a difference.
Yagamoth, meanwhile, in the Argus fight, is going to make excellent use of his hook shot and is going to use Master Sword spins to take down the puffs in one single hit. Is going to double hook some to make it a bit more effective. One more to go. And with that, one singular silver arrow takes care of Argus.
Just the compass, so...
There are going to be some items on the left side. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Yagamoth is going to go right back in or going to check some overworld. As DT does receive his mirror, we'll be very glad to receive those. Again, we are still looking for those Titansmiths, and possibly by extension the Ether Medallion.
Looks like DT is also going to be making the swamp play, but again, there are still 2 mirror locations nearby. Just going around to check those first could be a huge difference here between doing Swamp Palace full clear or go mode.
Swamp Palace being one of the more prominent dungeons, which a go mode is better to do, as you don't have to check all of the chests, obviously.
Yes, aside from Ganon's Tower, obviously, Swamp Palace has the most items you can get from a dungeon, and as a result, a lot of people would think, wow, okay, this is a good place to always check because it has 6 opportunities for items, but then you just run that risk, as if there's nothing in there, you're going to be full clearing a really huge dungeon that, when you're go mode, it's actually, like, so much faster, probably one of the fastest dungeons you can even do in go mode.
Yeah, that was definitely true up there with the likes of Misery Maya. Of course, Maya being a bit more of a wild card, as the big key placement can be pretty mean sometimes, and a full clear might not change as at all from a go mode.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, though, both of our runners making their way through the Swamp Palace. Yagamoth did already complete it, so is only going to check the 2 items on the left side. DT on his first way through. Be interested to see if he opts to immediately clear to the left side, or if he will take a routing similar to Yagamoth's. One more location left for Yagamoth.
It is not Swamp Palace.
Swamp does not have what we are looking for. As you mentioned, Yagamoth is going to check off some of the mirror locations, starting with the Bombos medallion, or the Bombos tablet, sorry.
This could also lead him thinking, you know, there's also another one of these tablets on Death Mountain that I never checked, so he could opt to go back up there as well. But gets the red mail, not going to be progression, but we'll give him some extra defense to work with. And, oh yeah, he hasn't checked Akina's cave either.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, only I believe like a piece of heart or a pack of bombs. Either way, nothing of importance. Well, that red mail is definitely nice to find, especially with 13 hearts. That is definitely going to add a lot more protection.
And yep, Yagamoth is going back up the Death Mountain, so he's going to be checking what DT already checked a little bit ago. DT will be able to get some time back here. Even more time if he decides to gamble on that last item not being anything in Swamp Palace. It's a big gamble to make, because you're essentially leaving 1 item behind, and you're only looking for 1 item. But, you know, some players will opt to do that if they feel like they've been behind, and maybe when he found the flippers, or not the flippers, the glove on Zora, he could think that maybe his opponent kind of routed things a little differently, and could have maybe gotten things more efficiently than what he did.
Yeah, that is very true. Routing is one of the bigger aspects of A Link to the Past Randomizer. As Yagamoth receives his 10 error upgrade, will be able to clear his mind on that location. Instead, is going to opt to hop into the Spike Cave.
Oh, that's right. Spike Cave also on the table as well.
Yeah, and with red mail and 13 hearts, or well,
the
mail
cave.
Yeah, the red cave is what I meant.
Yeah, with the cave. This is definitely within logic, and I almost forgot about this, but there it is!
Oh, that's the Titansmids. Wow, that is huge. Now, that is, as far as we are aware of, that is go mode for Yagamoth. But that Ether Medallion could still throw a rock in the machine if it ends up being required for either of our 2 dungeons. Yagamoth is immediately going to take his chances and see if he actually is in go mode, at least for Maya.
There's Quake, so that's 1 dungeon we can mark off.
Yeah, that is indeed very nice to see, as DT is going to go back in for that 1 item on the left side. Will unfortunately not be making up any time against Yagamoth.
Now the big question for Yagamoth, and thankfully for Misery Mire, it kind of works out, because Mire is a bit of a dungeon where you're looking for the big key anyway, and you might find both items along the way. But if you get that big key early, does Yagamoth make the play, go straight through the dungeon, not worrying about items and gambling on that he has the other medallion that he needs?
Yeah, that is very true. If this is, if the big key is on the bridge, the so-called Godmire, Yagamoth might opt to just go for it instead of looking for more items, as we do in fact get the Godmire.
There's Godmire right there.
Oh, Yagamoth's praying for Turtle Rock to be either Bombos or Quake as well. Meanwhile, DT making his way into the left side of Swamp Palace.
And you gotta also be thinking that Yagamoth knows he has a very strong opponent on his hands. And DT likely thinks the same thing about Yagamoth as well. So, you know, they're going to be thinking that, you know, with a tough opponent like this, I might need to make a gamble, such as just assuming I have everything I need just to kind of get things moving. So that could be weighing very heavily on his mind right now, being in what could potentially be go mode here.
Yeah, and it does look like Yaga is assuming that he is skipping all of the other chests in Misery Mire, going straight for the boss. With the silver arrows going to be quite trivial. Speaking of trivia, Vitreous is the only boss in the game that can survive a single silver arrow.
That is true. He is. Well, unless you want to count like Ganon, because technically he can survive 4. But yeah.
I mean, it is also pretty funny because in the vanilla game you're never actually able to have these silver arrows at this point, as Maya is part of the 5-6 combo. But with that 2 silver arrows to the big eyeball, Yagamoth will receive a small key, but more importantly, that crystal. And now it is going to come down to the 66% chance that Yagamoth is in go mode. Meanwhile, DT checking a bunch of miscellaneous mirror locations, starting with K45.
Just Burna in that cave.
Now, Turtle Rock is again one of those dungeons which may not differ very much from a full clear to a go mode, as the big key can also be buried pretty deep inside of the dungeon. So.
Yeah, and you still need to find a bunch of small keys as you're going up anyway. So you know it's kind of like you play it as you're playing a full clear dungeon until you get everything you need. That's pretty much how it works out.
Yeah, although if Yagamoth is inside of Turtle Rock, as unfortunately he gets dead rocked. But if you can make it into Turtle Rock, that means that he is in complete go mode. We are about to find out.
And that's right, he has the boots, he has the Cane of Samaria, so any Ganon Tower big key placement is moot at this point. As we travel to the Dark World, see that the medallion is Quake again. Yagamoth is officially in go mode.
Very nicely done. DT though, still looking for a couple of miscellaneous items, still looking for those Titansmiths, which we do know are lying inside of the Spike Cave, which DT did skip. And with it being the only item being left on Death Mountain for DT, might take him a while for him to go there. Might even wait until it is his last option.
Actually, where was Cape again? Was Cape in Swamp?
I don't remember.
Because that may have been the thing where maybe DT wasn't thinking about that because it wasn't in the logic yet. Yeah, Cape was in Swamp according to chat, so that's probably why he skipped Spike Cave at the time. He could have still done it, but you know, he was definitely following the logic. Was not a bad thing to do. Really needed that mirror or Titan's Mid at the time.
Yeah, ironically though, Titan's Mid's being in the location that would have been out of logic. Instead, unfortunately, coming back to bite him as DT is going to go back into Skull Woods.
It is interesting that both glove upgrades could be potentially gotten outside of logic in different cases.
Oh yeah, that is true. With the first one being on Zora and the second one being in Bite Cave. Oh, very nice fire rod dash from DT, not bonking into the skull. Yagamoth, meanwhile, making his way through the Turtle Rock dungeon. I don't believe he has found the big key yet.
I think he did actually. We'll see.
Oh, he still needs a small key to progress.
No, you're right. He didn't get it. My bad.
Or
I may be thinking about the Misery Mire key because he got that so long ago. First chest. Yeah, there it is.
And there's confirmation. Yagamoth does find the big key in its vanilla spot. You always hate to see that, especially in the dungeons such as Turtle Rock and Maya.
Yeah, especially this case for Turtle Rock, because if you get the big key early and you're in go mode, you know at that point that, well, there's not going to be anything important in that chest, so I can just go ahead and grab this key from the mummy and then just leave that room without having to spend it, and then you're one key closer to getting to the end anyway.
Yeah, definitely some interesting key logic that can be executed, as DT did finish off a very nice modular fight with the Master Sword and the Hammer. Not the easiest boss to do in this game, just due to the fact that there are spikes everywhere and the floor is moving. Horrible.
Yeah, it's a really, really rough fight, as DT is making his way back to Death Mountain. He is going to be going for Spike Cave, and he will be, even though he won't officially know it yet, he will be in go mode as well.
Yes, that is true. Yaga does find another bottle. Very nice, as DT is going to make the faithful play into the Spike Cave. We'll be very happy to see those Titan's Mids. Will not quite immediately be able to clear Turtle Rock and immediately go to Ganon's Tower, as DT still has to finish off Maya. But with that, DT is officially also in go mode.
And you know, he's got to be feeling like he's behind right now, just because like Gloves was literally in like the last position he got, and then the mitts pretty much the same thing. I think even Mirror, by that same token, was also the final location he had at that point. So with these seeds, sometimes if you just feel like you're taking so long to find certain items, it can really be just kind of feeling like, okay, I'm definitely behind right now. So, you know, this could be him making the same gamble that Yaga did, going straight for the boss without looking for any extra items. I potentially see him going straight up to Death Mountain after this to see what Turtle Rock has.
Yeah, that will definitely be the best course of action. Of course, we have the power of hindsight, as Yagamoth is already into the Tyranix fight, making quick work of the elemental heads onto the second phase. Should go over fairly quickly with the massive sort of spins doing temper damage. You get about 3 hits in on the first pass, after which it only takes a couple more slashes, and with that Yagamoth has collected his final crystal. And with that, we do have a tradition here in the Link to the Past randomizer. Because technically our runners are yet to be in go mode, because the Ganon's Tower Big Key is also very much required in order to complete the game. 22 locations to find, 1 Big Key location. So I ask you, Slim, where do you think it's going to be this seed?
Well, I'm going to go with my go-to answer of 8. I think it's going to be item location number 8. Specific location, I'll just say the fire bar room.
Fair enough, a solid choice. I like to generate a random one, akin to the randomizer, and today 14 is going to be our lucky number. Yagamoth going to opt to go for the right side first. Hoping for the gold Ganon's Tower. Gets the small key, and the small key will be able to immediately go to the right side, which is a common occurrence if runners find a small key in the first 2 chests. That means that they don't have to spend the time in tile room to get a small key.
Mm-hmm. Although checking tile room early is often... runners don't like to check tile room early, and it makes sense. It's a very long room. Even if there is a possibility for that big key to be there, it's just not a location you want to spend a whole lot of time on.
One through 6 coming up empty here. Oh, Yagamoth will be switching over to the left side after getting this small key. Meanwhile, DT finishes Vitreous. Will be onto Turtle Rock, and by extension Ganon's Tower. Oh, B-Torb.
So that was number 7 right there. Even though we didn't grab it, we know what that item is, so we still count that as part of the count.
8 through 11 coming up. Trim. Yeah, thankfully this is not Key Sanity.
Yeah, if this was Key Sanity, that mushroom could be important. That could lead to where the Ganon's Tower Big Key is, but...
Instead, there's the firebar room.
I got the location right. I didn't get the number right, but I got the location right. I believe that was location...
12?
12.
12.
I believe.
12 is our lucky winner. Did anyone guess 12? Yes, we do actually have a winner. What will they win today, Slim?
How about we give our winner a nice pair of flippers, just because it's been such a key item in this particular seed, being on the lumberjack tree.
Yeah, definitely an item to remember. DT, meanwhile, will be opening up the Turtle Rock, following in Yagamoth's footsteps. Still has a lot of ground to cover. So this, so at the moment, this is Yagamoth's race to lose. But with that, Yagamoth is in the gauntlet. With silver arrows, half magic, red mill, 14 hearts. Wow, just deletes the entire room immediately. We'll definitely not have any trouble getting through this.
Yeah, silvers are definitely a great item to have in the gauntlet. Just makes getting through here a lot faster. Don't have to worry about any extra sword swipes of that nature. Yagamoth even using the fire rod to KO some enemies as well.
Just going to take a quick stop to heal up. And with that is into the Randomizer refight.
Does get two of them down.
Yeah, well, that will get a very nice 2-cycle. As DT is teaming his way through the Turtle Rock. Yagamoth coming up on the torch room, a rather notorious room, as it is possible to soft lock the game if you happen to walk through the door as soon as the door closes or go upstairs. All of the sprites will disappear, including Aghanim and Mulder, making the game incompletable, which would be a huge time loss.
Thankfully, I think you just have to mirror out or save and quit or something, and we'll be back to normal. But yeah, it would be a huge, huge time loss in this case. Probably not quite enough for DT to catch up and take the lead, but still, not knowing where your opponent is a huge, huge aspect of these races, and that can just, in general, really affect playtime after a while. So, it's stuff you gotta really take in mind.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever runners are in Ganon's tower, they can pretty much expect the dot done from their opponent anytime.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Oh, and Yagamoth finishing off the second Muldoon fight will be onto the Aghanim refight.
Ooh! Score, baby!
That is the best last chest item you could possibly get. The tempered sword. Oh my, that is an amazing find right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the only reason you check that chest. You check it because if you need a sword upgrade or silvers or anything, it could be there. And sure enough, the Ganon fight's going to be so much easier for Yagamoth because he did that.
Wow, it does not get any better than this. DT, meanwhile, finishing up the Turtle Rock, did get his big key, is going onwards to confront Trinex. Yagamoth, meanwhile, second Aghanim fight, splits into 3 parts. The 2 clones will always shoot an energy ball, and the normal Aghanim still has that 50-50 chance, but does manage to deal with Aghanim in a timely manner, and will be into the Ganon fights shortly.
Yeah, that tempered sword will make this next fight a lot easier. With Master Sword, you can only hurt and stun Ganon with Master Sword spin attacks. You cannot, like with Tempered Sword, you can just slice him, but a normal spin, another normal slash with Master Sword will not do anything to Ganon here. So this is going to just be so much faster. We'll be able to get more hits in. Just so great that he got that sword.
Yeah, that will definitely speed up the fight by quite a significant amount. DT, meanwhile, gets the Smoky from the laser bridge, will be onto the Trinex fight momentarily as well, as Yagamoth's already on the second phase. And into the third. Some very friendly teleport patterns so far from Ganon. And yes, we did find these silver arrows. They weren't very well hidden, Ganon. You might want to try a bit harder next time.
Yeah, you put them very close to the bow as well, so...
Oh yeah, we did find both of those in Blind's Hideout. But with that, Yagamoth does fire the faithful arrow into Ganon as DT is about to finish off the Phoenix fight into the second phase. And Yagamoth finishes with a time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 16 seconds. Get your digits in chat. Oh dear.
So,
Oh, very well done on from Yagamoth. DT though shortly following short behind will be moving into the Ganon's Tower as well on his search for the big key. Be interesting to see if DT is going to opt to go for left side first as opposed to the full right side clear. DT does choose to go right side. We'll find the 2 keys and will actually mirror. An interesting choice. Most runners, as I've said, will opt to just go for the right side play. Instead, DT is going to win back a little bit of time from going to the left side. Alright, DT coming up on the fiber room. We'll be receiving his big key. We'll be heading right on out and moving on up to the Ganon's Tower Gauntlet. Again, having the exact same equipment as Yagamoth had, will be making quick work of anyone standing in his way. As Yagamoth is in the waiting room, I'll drag him over now. Hey, good evening, sir. GG on your victory.
Good evening. Thank you.
Wow, what a seed. That
Yeah.
quite agony as well.
That was fascinating. I haven't been nervous or this nervous in a really long time because I knew DT was really good, so I needed to really try hard here.
Yeah, DT is indeed following close behind, entering the gauntlet now actually. So this still has been a very close race. The main reason for the time discrepancy is that DT abstained from doing sequence breaks, so he did get the glove and the mirror fairly late compared to your checks.
Oh, I see. Glove was at Zora. Where was Mirror again?
Mirror was in Desert Palace.
Right. Was that a sequence break? Oh, the book was in the bottom of Hera, so not in that case, I guess. Well, I guess I got him pretty late in this case because, well, even though I knew I probably needed flippers, as in there was a pretty good chance, I also knew that most likely the flippers will lead to a location that I will need to get something, so I decided to try and immediately check all the flipper locations, which did include Zora at the time.
Yeah, that did give you the early glove. DT did actually go for the Aghanim play first, instead of choosing to do the sequence break.
I see, interesting.
Also, one interesting thing to note: when you found the book in the harem basement, you decided to save and quit and leave the ether tablet behind. Did that?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Did that weigh on your mind at all, thinking that you might have left?
Yes, actually, quite a bit, in fact, because I knew I would need to go all the way around because I didn't have mirror at the time in order to get back to Ether, so that was really in the back of my mind the entire time. So I was pretty happy when the book finally paid off in Desert Palace instead.
Yeah, and also DT now making his way to the top of the tower, almost at the modern refight. And how about that sword upgrade?
Yeah, that sword upgrade was really convenient because I decided I'm probably going to gain the most time if I just don't check side locations. Like I could have checked Hoodshot Cave, I could have checked Super Bunny Cave, kind of things that were along the way. But I figured there's so many locations left. The chance for finding a sword is kind of slim, so I decided to only check the chests that were literally just along the way.
Fair enough. And also, you decided to dip into Swamp Palace for before checking the. I believe it was Spike Cave that helped the Titansmiths for you.
Yes, indeed. Basically, I think, at least I don't know how the exact sequence is supposed to work out, but since you needed a invulnerability item, I figured, Spike Cave is now technically open thanks to us having the mantle, so I decided to just kind of go along the mantle. But at the same time, I was thinking if, well, presumably the laser bridge is required in Turtle Rock, so Spike, or excuse me, the Titansmith is probably available somewhere on the same level, which is why I decided to just keep going for mirror locations for the main part, which, well, did not yield anything. But I really wanted to get that ether tablet out of the way, and luckily Spike Cave just kind of happened to be next to it.
Yeah, definitely a very fortunate location. DT meanwhile did manage to enter into his cannon fight.
Looks like he does have the tempered sword as well, so should be just as easy as it was for Yagamoth as well.
Yeah, as well as those silver arrows, they weren't really well hidden by Ganon this seed.
But yeah, how does it feel being 4-0 and just one win away from making it to that bracket stage?
Frankly, I'm not entirely sure, because now it's going to get really difficult with the people up there. But it's pretty awesome, actually. I was kind of hoping for it, so it's going to be pretty intriguing who is going to be my next opponent, I think.
Oh, definitely. Again, at least you have like kind of a 2-game buffer to still work with. Even if like the next 2 weeks don't go your way, you still have another chance too. Which gotta feel nice in that regard as well.
Yeah, that's actually pretty neat.
we go. In the name of DT takes down Ganon.
Yeah, finishes off with barely short of 10 minutes behind. Definitely still a very close race, finishing with an official time of 1:39.46.
But yeah, this was definitely a very entertaining race to watch, just in terms of the very early divergence at the very beginning, kind of taking a little bit of time to do that extra sequence break to get the power gloves early versus following the logic on DT's side. It really just kind of made a very interesting seed to watch for sure.
One other thing that was on my mind is that I didn't know yet whether Swamp Palace is going to be a pendant or a crystal. In case it was a pendant, the flippers were not necessarily required at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to just check all the flipper locations that I could at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And now joining us alongside our winner, we have In the Name of DT, our second place finisher for this race. Welcome to the post-race interview. How are you doing today?
Hey there, guys. Hey, Slim. Yaga, GG, dude. Congrats.
GG, thank you for racing.
So, flippers on Lumberjack Tree. Don't see that very often, do you?
No, nothing like seeing that twice in one day.
I know,
That's
right?
for sure.
So we were just kind of discussing before you got in here. It was really interesting to see both of you play this seed because, as you could plainly see, Power Glove being at Zora definitely allowed for that kind of early sequence break. Now, obviously, like you had to go and beat Aghanim for the flippers anyway at some point because Swamp Palace was required. But DT, seems like you were definitely very keen on following the logic in this seed while your opponent did the fake flipper technique and actually got the power glove early. So it was really cool to watch both runs just kind of take those different routes. And with all things considered, it was really, really close when you both were in Swamp Palace at the same exact time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I try to not sequence break as much as I can these days. Fake flippering might be an exception, but I kind of assumed that with the flippers where they were, that would open up in the logic soon enough, and that it wouldn't be too much of an issue to put it off temporarily. But yeah, having that glove early would have been a really, really huge advantage. So props to you for making that play. Cool to hear that we were in Swamp at the same time. The thing that really held me back on this was, well, backing up a moment, I guess. One goal that I always have when I play is to at least execute well and to at least play well. And I felt confident with my run. But then routing comes into play. And it doesn't matter how confident you are and how well you're executing. When the very last thing that you check is what has the Titan's mitts, oh, that adds way up.
That's very unfortunate.
That's just the way it goes. But
Where was your Titan's mitts in this case?
I'm sorry?
Where were your Titan's mitts in this case? As in, where did you find Titan's mitts?
They were in Spike Cave in this one, right?
Oh, I see. I did not know whether it could have been at Zora for you.
Oh, that's what you meant. I'm trying to think. Could it have been within the logic? I don't know if it... I don't know. I'm not going to analyze it in that kind of depth, but...
No, it wasn't, because Flute was on Death Mountain, so you needed to get to Death Mountain via the vanilla way. So you had to get the Zora Power Gloves first.
Oh, right.
But yeah, pretty much what it came down to is like after Swamp Palace, like I think Yaga, you checked Bombo's tablet, and Agina, because you hadn't checked that yet, and I think you went immediately back up to Death Mountain at that point to check those locations. And because you skipped Ether and Spiral Cave when you did, that almost gave you an extra incentive to go up there to check Spike Cave. So that's kind of what helped. Well, DT, because he got those earlier, definitely kind of went for more of the mirror locations because it was the most recent item he got, which is again a fair thing to think at that point. But yeah, kind of checking all those mirror locations did kind of widen the gap of that lead of yours.
Yeah, I guess in a sense it was actually lucky that I initially forgot that Ether tablet is there and saved and quit from the basement of Tower of Hera, which that really did weigh on my mind the entire time. So I was kind of happy eventually finding the mirror so I could check it reasonably quickly.
Yeah, it was neat because I think it was like you were getting ready to check Desert. There were 2 locations there, and then DT was finishing up Hera, so he had those 2 Death Mountain locations. So it was just kind of like, okay, which one's which? Which one's going to be the one that's the correct play? So it was really kind of cool to see that kind of play out in action. But yeah, very nicely played from both of you. Again, like it was definitely a really close race, and you know, it did come down to routing. Both of your executions were on point today. It was really cool just to see all those bosses just go down as quickly as they did, and you know, it was really joy to watch and commentate this race because it was, you know, we did not know who was going to be taking this one away until we saw that last medallion on Turtle Rock.
No, I don't think either one of us knew who was going to take this one away either. I mean, the beginning of the week when the matchups were set, my first contact to Yagamoth was, well, rip me, but hey, I guess we got a race. And he said, rip you. No, rip me. It's like, well, one of us has to win. We can't both lose. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, Yaga, I knew you were going to be an awesome opponent, and definitely didn't disappoint. I guess if there's ever a time I'm happy to lose, I'm happy to lose to someone that's as good as you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I would have not minded losing to you either, so thank you for racing.
And with that, we have Yagamoth moving on with a 4-0 in the name of TT with 3-1. Both definitely still in the running for this. I mean, you guys are 3-0 for a reason. You played well the first 3 weeks, and you put on a strong showing today. So I expect good showings from both of you in the coming weeks. So good luck on getting the rest of the wins you need to make it into that bracket stage.
Thank you, and yeah, indeed, good luck on the next match.
Yep, you as well. Get that next win. Get in the brackets, all right?
I'll try, thank you.
Slim Stan, thanks for commentating, guys.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for restreaming and also tracking. That is really appreciated.
Indeed, and with those kind words, a big shout out to both of these runners, In the Name of DT and Yagamoth, to Behemoth, putting up an excellent show for you. Make sure to follow those runners on their Twitch channels, as well as a huge shout out to our tracker Nailene for keeping us going straight, as well as Datawolf for keeping the stream healthy, and of course, a huge shout out to my co-commentator Slim Kirby for joining me on this amazing race. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem at all. I always love commentating with you, Stan. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad we had another match together. So yeah, thanks to all the people for watching this race. It was a lot of fun. If you want to watch more Link to the Past Randomizer, guess what? You are in luck, because coming up on, I believe, okay, yeah, it looks like a Link to the Past Randomizer 2. So this channel just replaced the 3 with a 2. We have Vitor versus Megavolt, which will be a very entertaining match, I'm sure. So check that out on ALTTPR 2. And on Speed Gaming 4, we have another match, Chloe Prower versus Songleaves, both at 6 p.m. EDT. So coming up very, very soon, within the next 10 minutes. So if you like what you saw in this race today, there is more to come, not just for today, but for the rest of the tournament. We still have the rest of this week, 3 more weeks of Swiss, and then, of course, the entire bracket stage as well. Make sure you follow Speed Gaming channels 1 through 6, as well as ALTTP Randomizer channels 1 through 4, and you'll get all the updates for this tournament as you continue to follow those races. So this has been Slim Kirby, going to be signing out. We'll see you guys later.
And this is Stan. See you in the next race. Take care.